welcome back to another SuperCoach video with me, JD. You are joining me for the round 19 score review. It has been a very good week of footy and another good week of SuperCoach for me. A top 1,000 round rank, which is always nice. Moved up 1,400 spots, well into the top 5K now for the first time this year, I want to say. So yeah, it's been a long time coming. I had to work back a long way to get here. I think I was, around 27K after round 7 and just plummeting. So celebrate the small win. Obviously some, look at these, some big league wins. Cash league wins are always good. And I did use one trade this week. So yeah, we got the Hewitt news late that he was going to be out injured. And so for those that joined me on Thursday, we did a quick live stream to kind of talk through the Josh Kelly and Hewitt trade in and out options and answer some Q&A. At this time of the year, it's really hard to give broad stroke advice. If you think about how I like to do these SuperCoach videos, I like to talk about the strategy and the types of moves you should be looking to make and how you tee yourselves up. And then, of course, we go through specific players and who I like or don't like in any given week. But yeah, at this point in the year where you might only have, 1 or 2 trades, it's very different to what someone that might have 4 or 5 trades could do, and differences in cash and all that. So yeah, we did the live stream just to help anyone else out. And then if you don't follow me on Twitter at Jackson Dave, I also tweeted my trade out ahead of time, I believe, on that as well. Just so if you were thinking about, what to do or you were unsure, it could help you. But yes, I wasn't in the position where I had cover with obviously Dean Bergia being dropped. For those that had Ware, Burgoyne, Karmas, I think scored right in the end, all around 60 mark. They were perfectly good cover. I think you could take a 60 and be happy with that most weeks. Hold on to your trade. But yeah, I didn't have the cover, so I was forced to. And I went Himmelberg, which was very nice, at 130. So probably about plus 70 points on those that had to field a rookie. And obviously 130 points on those that were fielding a donut. So very handy, and that's the value of these trades this time of the year. But yeah, overall, really good round of footy. There was lots of great close games, including the unfortunate Essendon loss, but yeah, ripping game. And I know a lot of Collingwood fans in the Discord are trying to get stuck into me, but I'm honestly happy. Maybe this is what Essendon's beaten into me at this point in my life, but I'm just happy that we're competing in close games with top teams. Even if we do have a young and listen improving, and even if we're not getting the wins, I think that's a nice part. We've been very competitive, and after the horrible start to the year, I'm still really happy with the outcome. Yeah, I know it's probably not PC to say, especially to other Essendon fans. A lot are very upset, but yeah, I'm cool with it. So, well played to the Pies. Hopefully they can have a good crack at the finals series this year. Okay, so running through defense. Now, the only other thing I'll say is I had family up this weekend, and we had a lot of the good games double booked. So I've missed bits and pieces of games. I'll try and download the knowledge I have as quick as I can. And then we'll go from there. I might miss a thing or two, but obviously we've got the podcast with the boys tomorrow night anyway. So whatever I miss, I'm sure we'll cover off there. So just going through the defense line. Sinclair was really good, but this is a strange game because he did go missing for a little bit, I think towards the back end of the second and early part of the third. Wasn't getting tagged, but was otherwise very good. And look, at 117, something to complain about. I think he's firmly the D1 now, right? Should be on total points because he hasn't missed a game. It would only be Stewart that has him on average. Yeah, Stewart's got him on average. He's gone past Sicily. And by the way, it's no coincidence that the last 3 weeks I've had good rank rises, and both Sicily and Brody haven't been bad, but they just haven't been going 120, 130 each week. They've been doing mid 90 scores, which is much more manageable now that I've got a full team as well. It's kind of fighting on a fair playing field. But yeah, Sinclair, very good. I think he's the number 1 defender you'd want to have from here. But so if you don't have him, get him in. I guess the only problem is they do have a couple of matchups where he's likely to get tagged. So he could get McGuinness this week against the Hawks. Geelong won't tag him. Brisbane won't tag him. Swans in the last round will tag him with Clark. So yeah, look, he's 2 tags in the last 4 games. The only problem for him, I guess, the games where he's not tagged, he just goes big enough to help even that out. But yeah, that's the only problem with Sinclair. Himmelberg, very good. Been a big fan of Thor since he moved back. Just both good combination of defensive intercept marking, but then also getting some of the cheap stuff and joining in with that kick to kick in the back half, which GWS are doing more now with the current game plan under McVeigh. So yeah, I think he's a very strong option from here. And a lot of people are starting to talk about who are we starting next year, what are the options people are looking at. I'll try and call out more of these as we go throughout these videos, but Himmelberg has to be one where if he's keeping the same role next year and the game style is somewhat similar, absolutely a consideration, priced at 90, but we've seen him be more like a 105 to 110 player in this role. Plus, he should retain DPP, so that's very handy throughout the year. It's definitely underrated, the forward defense DPP swing. So yeah, that's someone to have on your list. Someone else you should have on your list is absolutely Dawson. So this is a tricky game for Dawson. A couple of reasons. One, he got tagged by Clark. Wait, who did they play? They played Swans, right? They did play Swans? Yes, they did, because it was Laird Mills. So got tagged by Clark, and then about halfway through the game, maybe a little bit before that, Dawson then got moved up into the forward line to break that tag and to free him up. So for him to get a 93 playing forward after being tagged, very impressive. I know the score doesn't look like great, but just given the circumstances, very happy with it. Did a lot of great contested marking in that game to get this score to what it was. It was like, he's just such a good player. If he'd kicked his other goal, this could have been well and truly a ton as well. So yeah, very good. Doherty was invisible for 3/4 of this game. Racked it up in the fourth quarter when it was over. So really good dream team score, lots of points there, but not a very good SuperCoach score. Gave away a couple of like poor frees, I think, as well early, which didn't help. Short, it's the same story we've told for a few weeks now. It's just not a SuperCoach friendly role that he's in anymore. No, like both of these options, I hate. Crisp has not been good. I don't know what his 5-round average is at now. 81.6 is so bad. If you could have jumped off him 5 weeks ago, you'd be flying. And same with Short, really. So for those that do have spare trades, obviously I think you need to look at Stewart this week as someone that you bring in for one of these two. If you wanted to go really risky, then Hall would be your other option. So returned on the weekend. Wasn't meant to play, was named as an emergency, and then came as a late in for Larkey. But then played his, junk half-back role. So if he's going to continue to get that, then he's definitely still an option. People will say, well, what about the injuries? And look, definitely a concern. I covered this in one of my fundamentals videos, but effectively, like, injury risk is like less of a thing the longer you are into a season. So you don't need Aaron Hall to get through 22 games or even 11 games when I think a lot of people brought him in. It's just 4 now. So it's definitely a risk. Don't get me wrong. It is a risk. But they have some games where they could be competitive in Essendon and Adelaide. Although Essendon's been in decent form, to be fair, they might, but we do play down to worse teams. Anyway, Hall could go very, very good across the next 4. So yeah, that's a riskier option. It's also a cheaper option. If Hewitt had have gone out this week and people were weighing up different options and they didn't have money, I'm guarantee people would be jumping on Hall. Not the worst thing in the world. But yeah, Crisp and Short, just bad. Short's still a good player, just not a good SuperCoach option anymore, being too far in front of the ball, and yeah, Crisp not good. Just quickly on defense, so we talked on some of the rookies that did well. D'Ambrosio might return next week with Redmond getting injured on 42. It wasn't a concussion, apparently it was internal bruising, so it's something that maybe he could get up from, but if you're subbing someone at halftime, especially that is that important to your side, it's got to be for something bad. You'd imagine at least they're being like heavily precautionary, so if he is missing time, then D'Ambrosio, I think, comes straight back into that side and will be cover. Otherwise, maybe not. And then the other injury for Gold Coast was Ballard, which also helps me because key defender, Thompson could be the one that they call up. So if you've got either D'Ambrosio or Thompson as your bench cover, they both might be coming back this week, which is good news if you need it. Because part of the reason why I did this trade is this is the only line I don't have cover. So, yep. All right, midfield. Oliver looked very good for about 3/4, coming back with that hand and then just faded out in that game. Not sure if it's because it was giving him issues or if it's just missing a week. You wouldn't expect it with Oliver, but a bit of a weird one. I guess it was also like dogs taking over, and old dogs do suck up points. So yeah, I wouldn't be worried about Oliver or anything like that. Just a bit of a down game on return there. I think he'll come good. We'll see. Laird continues to be phenomenal, and I think he's just someone he feels very matchup proof, that just regardless of who they're playing, you could have him in your VC or C considerations at the moment. Took looked back to his best in this game. And by the way, this was tough because you had the Dogs Melbourne and the Brisbane Gold Coast games going at the same time, and they're both really good games. So trying to catch bits and pieces of both and get the end of one and get the end of the other was like not fun, but like they were both really good games, if that makes sense. So yeah, I took 157. There were lots of really good captain, vice captain options this week. Like Bont is the other one that a few people went on, but not many. And if you did, well done. But I think Laird and Merritt were some of the popular ones we talked about. Brayshaw as a vice captain option didn't work out on the Friday. And then Steele, I think we also talked about a little bit, and he was good. He was very good. I know he had a huge fantasy score. I think it went, 143. So very good, very good. We talked about like I would have loved to have traded Cripps to Steele, even though Cripps had a good week this week with no Hewitt. Back to that 120 mark, it still got outscored by 25 by Steele, which is just crazy. Steele is very good. I think he's going to be underpriced. So this is one that I've got earmarked as a starting selection next year. He's durable, and this is not a soft tissue injury he had. 114 is underpriced. He's not going to get tagged. Just, very good player. Steele is one on the list. People will talk about like Laird and Oliver. Probably no on both of these for me. This is a very steep price to pay for a starting pick. Generally doesn't work out. So I could see myself fading one or both. Like maybe you want one or need one as a captain option each week, like if they have a soft starting fixture. But yeah, I probably no. Like you could consider Miller. He had a soft start. Neil will be a no, I don't think. But yeah. Then Merritt continued his great form. Collingwood continued to leak points to the midfield. Very weird game from a SuperCoach perspective, because the highest SuperCoach score on Collingwood side was a 90 from Josh Dacos, and everyone else was below that. I don't remember or recall the last time I saw a game where one team's top scorer was so low. Even in games where, North and West Coast got smashed, they usually still had someone that got 100 or, a few people that were up there quite high. And yeah, so just crazy. Just crazy. But yeah, Merritt was very good in that game. Just he's racking it up at will. And people are asking what's changed with Merritt. And what I've observed was actually confirmed by him on AFL 360 this week. If you missed that, he was interviewed. But effectively, about 18 months, so the start of last year, he got moved a little bit more to play behind the ball to free up some of the other midfield options. And then, 4 or 5 weeks ago, when this form shift has started, the big change was that they moved McGrath back behind the ball and they let Merritt play midfield, but then move in front of the ball, which is more what he was playing the first 4 or 5 years of his career. So he really gets to use that damaging kick as an inside 50 weapon, and also he's playing right up at the stoppages for the most part and extracting and getting a lot of ball out of there. But he still works back into defense and can get possessions there too. So just, very, this is a much better role for him from a SuperCoach perspective. I missed a lot of this game, but near 123, that's a good score. I think he's not going to be as impressive as what we saw from the start of the year to the end of from the start of the year to now, from now to the end of the year, but still like a top 8 mid or thereabouts from here. So very good. McRae, this could have been so much worse, and he kind of lifted and he kicked a goal in the 4th as well. With everyone back, he worries me, and this is probably someone I'm not starting next year unless you have multiple dogs leave the midfield for whatever reason. Because with Bont and Pelly back, McRae gets pushed out. When they use Dunkley up there as well, McRae gets pushed out. So yeah, if Dunkley leaves, maybe this is a consideration, McRae, just because he will be underpriced compared to his best, and he's durable, but not loving it. And then Petrarca was bad. This 81 is overscored. He was much worse than this. He's just very hot and cold at the moment. 189, 91, 141, 81. I guess if you average it out, it's probably what's his last 5 weeks? 120. It just feels so bad when you get the 80. Give me more of the 140s, please. And then, so Cripps was good. But for those that have been on Twitter, you'll have seen a few people talking about Cripps' stats with and without Hewitt. I think his last 2 games without Hewitt were this 138 and 151 here. Or maybe it was this 114 and 126. Was it during the buys? It might have been. Might have been these 2 here. And then, bad since, and then 118 again. So definitely having Hewitt out of the side is helping Cripps from a SuperCoach perspective. Also helps that they won on a pretty easy kill in GWS. Now, other good news is Owens might be returning. I think he's been playing well in the twos, old Machado, and Billings got injured, subbed out from the start. I think they had other injury problems as well, but I missed parts of that game. So Owens could be getting a reprieve for those that need cover. Just like Teakle, by the way. Port got smashed in the ruck again. Teakle was good in the twos, so could be getting a return. All right, so Darcy Witts. This 86 is so bemusing to me. He had 50 hitouts and finished with an 86 cents because 16 of those hitouts were sharked. When you have sharked hitouts, you lose points. And one of the reasons why Witts has been scoring so good is because he's really good at hitouts to advantage, which is lots of extra points for rucks. But yeah, up against that Brisbane midfield, they got sharked a lot. So first time he's had like a negative DT Supercoach score, I think, this year, or at least like a heavily negative one like this. And that was all due to that. So wouldn't worry about it too much. It's just a bit unfortunate with the game with so many hitouts. He didn't score particularly well. He plays West Coast this week, and Marshall just dominated them without a ruck. I'm not sure if Nick Nat's going to be back this week. He's still in the 88, Marshall. Wow, he was on track for something much better than that. And faded a bit. And then Darcy, look, unfortunately, we've been led down the garden pass with Darcy. These last 5 weeks, what is it? 107, 108 average. Look, it's fine. It's okay. But this is not last year's peak Darcy that could pump out 160s, 180s. He's just not there. He's up against Gawn this week, and obviously Gawn did really well against English. They both scored really well on each other, so maybe we could see Darcy and Gawn do the same thing on Friday night as well. Wouldn't hold your breath for it, but I think a lot of people in the same boat with that owning Darcy and Witt, so it's not like the scores are killing you. I mean, not a 93 is a particularly bad score anyway. And then the forward line here. So yeah, Bont's phenomenal. This is where we're getting back to like peak Bont. I'm laughing at those that were asking me during the buys if I was worried about his shoulder being slightly strapped. No, not even close. Yeah, he's just so good. They play the Cats. It's another must-win game. They're going to give him lots of midfield time. I think Cat's actually like a decent to score on. So he could go like reasonably big again. As I wouldn't trust it as a C option, but I could see it as a VC option. But there's a lot of good options this week. We'll cover those in a second. Cogs was just okay, I thought, in this game. Park was very good. I'm surprised it was just a 98 that he finished on, to be honest. I thought his game was better than a 98. But it's the same. Like, he worked so hard for these low tons. And then English was good. Back to what we were hoping to see. So look, it took a couple of weeks off the concussion, but he looked like he's back in good form, which is very promising for us. Once again, they're up against Geelong. Stanley's actually been surprisingly good. Did he get injured? Hold on, let me just bring this up on the other screen for a second here. I swear someone in that Geelong game got injured. It was Stanley. He got subbed out. Right knee injury. Okay, this is quite interesting then. English could potentially have a really big game. Who are they going to have ruck? Like Blitzav again? They had like Shannon Neal as their sub, right? It was like a forward that they had ruck. I'm not sure what they're going to do there because if it's Blitzav, by the way, he was doing very good job scoring there as a ruck. So that's like a sneaky pot option for the back end for those that are in that type of situation. He scores very well as a ruck, defender ruck status, which is a strange one, but if you've got, I can't pronounce the guy's name, the Carlton defender ruck 102k loophole, then you've got some swing options there. But I think that's just diamond. Shout out to you. That's in that position. I don't think anyone else took that loophole. And then yeah, Dunkley's been bad. What's his 3-round average? 69.7. Do you know what's weird? I can't tell you why. He's been getting CBAs, but he just hasn't been getting as much kick mark around the ground. Hasn't been like taking all of his marks and converting all his opportunities. But that's really not the difference between, 110 average that he was at the start of the year and a 70-point average, which he's at now. So a little bit strange here. I don't know if he's just a bit out of form, a bit out of touch, what's going on. I think he'll bounce back, and he's tanked his prices at 460k. So Even if you wanted to move him on, it's really hard to find good options now. But yeah, this is a strange one. Maybe a discussion option with George and the boys. Like, if you had a free trade, would you get rid of Dunkley? All right, if you've got an answer to that, let me know below. But like, I don't know. And then Heaney has had 3 weeks of back-to-back tons. So he's got a 3 on average of 107, which is crazy. I've been canning this boy all year, and probably undeserving of these scores. I would have preferred to go Taranto, who's had a slightly better 5 round, slightly worse 3 round though. But yeah, Heaney's been all right, and they've got GWS this week. He could go well again. So I'm going to keep loopholing Stringer and Heaney. This is going to be a lot trickier this week because... Oh, and Stringer wasn't particularly good. He was like gone for lots of this game. Kind of came alive in the last, but then missed opportunities. Otherwise, he could have gone, 90s. But yeah, Essendon play North this week, which is 2 implications. Like, one, Stringer for me, and then secondly, Merritt. In terms of trades this week, there wasn't really any key injuries that people should be worried about. I think Goldie got a head knock or something like that, but I don't think well, he played out the game, so I don't think there's any worry there. We talked about Redmond, and we talked about some of the defender options, who you could trade to if you're in that situation. Very unlucky. Trelaw was the only other one who did a hamstring. Oh, no, it was a calf strain, I believe they said. So if you're a Trelaw owner, what do you do? That's a good question. What was Trelaw even on in terms of price? 500. Oh, Dilmore, we talked about 124. Yes, I was a big fan of Dilmore last week. Very good score. I mean, Luke Parker's pretty cheap. If you don't have Luke Parker and you had Trelaw, I think you could still go there. Probably wouldn't go Heaney. If you wanted to go him, like if you had the cash, like I still like Dylan Moore. I still like Himmelberg, although Dylan Moore's now had his North game, which makes him slightly less appealing. Rosie's been very good, even though it doesn't always convert to points. Sam Berry was a 140 alongside Laird, just tackling really hard. Like, don't hate that as a pod option. You could look at Heaney. You could look at one of the Cats forwards if you're looking for a loophole. I wouldn't touch Duncan. Otherwise, you could always consider Brody, but most people have Brody. If you don't have Brody by now, you're probably not trading him in from Trelaw. Oh, English is 520, so you don't have English, that'd be good. Oh, and whatever Bailey Smith's at, he looked very good. So you don't have Bailey Smith, he's 513. Perfectly good option as well for Trelaw. Yeah, Bailey Smith in particular, I think will benefit from no Trelaw. So yeah, if you had to trade him out, there you go. Alrighty, so captain, vice captain this week. Lots of nice matchups. So Adelaide against the Blues, I could see Laird being an option there. You've got Bulldogs against the Cats. Do any of them have great history? Does Bont have good history against them? Yeah, not bad. So like Bont's in form, he could be looked at. English I wouldn't touch. McRae I wouldn't touch just with his form. Freo Melbourne. So look, Oliver is probably a VC option here in another close game. Darcy and Gorn I wouldn't hit. Brayshaw I wouldn't hit. Petrarca I wouldn't hit. So Oliver's really your only consideration there if you don't have anyone else that you like better. Pies Port, there's no one. Good. Darcy Cameron. He didn't score well, and he didn't play particularly well, and I think that means Grundy's coming back. So if you still have Cameron and you're looking for a trade, all the same advice I just gave applies. He's at 488k now, so hopefully you've got enough to get up to an English, a Bailey Smith, someone like that, because I think those are your best options. All right, cough to yawn combo, rare. What else we got for captain, vice captain? Sydney GWS, if you've got Mills, you could look there. Mills hasn't been playing the best, so maybe not. Steele against the Hawks is a great VC option, so probably one that I would lock in. So I think Steele would be my VC, looking at these games. And then, yeah, you've got some problems with Dogs Geelong play the same time as Adelaide Carlton. I just can't see a world where I'd like VC one of the Dogs over Laird, which, could be the wrong thing, because maybe VCing Bont again is right over VCing Laird. Both are in great form, so pick your poison there. Gold Coast against West Coast Eagles. So we just saw Steele go huge on them. With no ruck, you could see Witts go big. You could see Miller go big as well. So I think those are both live options. Richmond against Brisbane, probably non-relevant there. Richmond have been giving up points to midfielders, so you could look at Neil, but I just feel like he's a little bit out of form, and there's other options that you probably like more. Does Neil have good track record against them? 107, 149, 190? Yeah, he does. So look, it's not completely out of the realm of possibility, but tough one. And then, yeah, Essendon against North in the final round. So Merritt's got a 5-round average of 133, a 3-round average of 139. And his last three against 114, 117, 68. Was that 68 the early one where he played sick? Not sure. No, round 6 it wouldn't have been. I wonder if he got tagged. Maybe Merritt isn't the best option this weekend. Interesting. So I don't have Steele, so that takes out one of the good options for me. I don't think I'm going Oliver. So it's probably Laird or Bontempelli for me. And hoping this hits. And then it will be into either Took Miller or Merritt. Would be my guess at where my vice and captain lands this week. But that is everything from me. I think it's all the important stuff we've covered. Hopefully it was a fair bit. If you do have any thoughts, questions, if you do need to make trades and I've forgotten the obvious person that I needed to talk about that would help you in your situation, then please let me know. Otherwise, yeah, let me know if you could trade Dunkley to anyone. Who would it be? Free of charge. Who would you get rid of him for? Would you get rid of him, I guess, is the bigger question. Otherwise, I will see you all in the next one. Hope you're going well. Hope you're moving up the ranks too. But yeah, catch you next time. Peace.